Hey guys, sorry about the delay. Hi, I'm Island Turtle. Welcome to BOMISpirit. This is going to be the weekly intuitive astrology reading for July 29th to August 4th. I was running a little late today, so again, my apologies. Clyde needed food, things needed handling unexpectedly. We are getting closer to Mercury retrograde, so I guess it just is like it's just a thing. But I hope everybody is doing amazing. I'm still kind of getting a little organized here before we get into it. Actually, let me like adjust that just a smidgen. Okay, perfect. There we go. Whew, what a weekend. What a weekend leading into this week, right? Like, actually, I think I do want to start just by talking about that. Let me get my little timestamps ready, get comfortable, if it's lunchtime for you, breakfast, dinner, whatever. Oh man, yeah, it's been an interesting, energetic flow, so to speak. We got astrology. I think, yeah, this is the overview. We'll just put astrology here and then we'll go section by section. Okay. Thank you for taking the time to do this for us. Absolutely. Absolutely. I've been taking time the last couple days, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. You know, when Chiron went retrograde. Actually, I'll just start talking about this because I think it's important to talk about. Where are we at? I'll mark it at the 2 minute mark. Allow myself a sip of coffee before I just get to talking because I feel like today's gonna be a long one. I'm not gonna lie. I'm also words. Words are hard for me right now. That's kind of the gist of what I wanted to say right there. So be patient with me as I take my time to articulate everything. Mm. Okay. First of all, I actually want to talk about this last weekend/week energy because it does tie directly into everything that we're moving through now collectively. When Chiron, oh my God, I can't even say it, went retrograde this last week. It actually went retrograde when the moon was in Aries, Chiron also being in Aries. And I know I was really feeling it. And again, some people it may have been really intense, like it was for me, and for some people it might have been like very mild. So it just depends on what's going on for you, right? Obviously. But that energy, I felt like opened a vault of just like unexpected, like past stuff, to say the least. Some of you might have been ancestral, some of you might have been inner child stuff, some of you might have been like, what the hell is this? I don't even know what this is, but I just gotta move through it kind of emotions. But it, like I said, it does tie directly into this week, especially in terms of what we've been emotionally attaching to. So good to see you and hear you. Hi, Paula. Hello. What do you predict for this eclipse season? We're not here to talk about eclipses right now. We're trying to be present today. Eclipses are important, you know, just because they are really big energetic shifts that we go through. But you know, it's interesting because especially the energy that we're moving through right now, so much about being present, like so much about being present. I feel like I had so much information come through, not just for me personally, but stuff that also it relates to the collective, you know? Um, anyway, sorry. See, like this is the thing. I'm still kind of calibrating myself emotionally from stuff, so I'm a little like that. But the energy we just went through and are still kind of in, just a lot of light being shed on what we have attached to emotionally or any unresolved, unhealed things that have been really preventing us from really being able to embrace new experiences and like new territory, but also our own gifts and skills. Like that was something that was made clear. And I was like, interesting. Like all of the space being taken up by these things and what encompasses emotional attachments also has been recently broadened for me personally. So I'm just going to share that with you because I'm sure it's helpful for some people. So it's just been a very eye-opening emotional few days. But yeah, in terms of these things that have been taking up space, it's almost like, speaking of eclipse, it's like they have been eclipsing out our own gifts and our own skills and parts of us that we haven't even really been allowed to traverse and explore, including externally, you know, options in life that we haven't allowed ourselves to explore or experience. That was made very clear. But also in terms of attachment, emotional attachment, we can emotionally attach to things that are not just painful. We can emotionally attach to memories. We can emotionally attach to, I mean, it's really all encompassing in like memories, but to our past in ways that maybe we feel are nostalgic. But even if it's nostalgic, it might actually be taking up so much space that we're kind of still living in the past unknowingly, right? Even if we're just reflecting on just things we've experienced, or we, some people, I also, this was coming through too, may have come into this realization of attempting to relive past experiences, when this is really a time of really closing the book on the past. Let it go. I woke up this morning and a song came through, and it's been a bit since I've woken up to a song channeling. And it's, the song is literally called Let It Go. I think it's by James Bay. I wrote it in my journal. I don't know if he's really a well-known artist or not. I like, because that's a song that I think I first heard years ago through my like Hawaii playlist. I don't even know if it's like super popular. But yeah, definitely listen to that song. I was gonna post it, but I wanted to do my self-care. So I've been trying to be good about that too for myself. But anyway, yeah, that song Let It Go by James Bay is a really, really good one to listen to. And like I said, I might post about it later. Finished up a gallbladder liver flush this weekend, massive cleansing. Oh, so that's another thing, Jackie. Thank you for bringing that up. I've also been very aware that it's like, as the collective is moving through these continued waves of detachment and really letting go of things and really grieving things that we've been attached to. Again, even if it's things that are just nostalgic, right? Even if it's like physical objects from your past, or it's actual pain and wounds, etc., or programming. As we are letting these things go collectively, there is also a physical reaction that the collective is going through. And this is just what I've been observing, not just in myself, but even people around me, especially with the solar plexus. Especially with the solar plexus, where we hold our mana, our chi, our seat of our soul, our seat of our power, our seat of our being. Solar plexus, for some people, I've also heard this as a thought form, and I do think there's some truth to it, that also relates to the inner child, which would also make sense if we're like cleansing away these like deep things. So if you've been going through some weird digestive stuff, or you've just, your whole body's been going through weird things that make absolutely no sense, I wouldn't be surprised if it's part of that. And I do want to say, like, solar centered things or full body things. So that can even be like, thinking of full body, it's like that's the nervous system, which is also tied to the solar plexus, by the way. Also skin, right? I know I've also been going through like some weird eye stuff myself. It's just been a lot. It's been a lot. And like, even for me, like eating has been such a weird thing lately. I just don't know what my body's gonna do. And I know I'm not the only one feeling that. So this is the energy we've been in, right? This like deep unveiling and window to let it all flow and let it all go and just allow it to be the past. Allow it all to just be the past. Allow it all to just be behind you. Allow it all to just be done. Allow it to just be done, right? So that being said, let's move into the overview of this week, because this is nice. This is a nice week. Just gotta say, this is a nice week. I'll just do it at like a 9-minute mark. Hi, Bubsy. Also, if anyone who's a Clyde fan, he is doing better. He got his inhaler, so I've also been like, helping, obviously administering that. That's been helping him tremendously. He's been eating a little more normal, being a little more active. So it's good to just see him being happy. But anyway, just wanted to share for the Clyde fans out there. But let's talk about the overview for this week. So this week, now that we're coming out of that energy, Rockin' Robin, thank you. Thank you for the $5. So moving into this week with that energy, there's 3 significant things that are going on this week, I will say, before we get into like aspects and all of that. If you're new, I do go into like aspects and the detailed astrology. I just like to give an overview first for people who don't really want to know about that stuff and just want to get the gist and then go to the readings, okay? But anyway, so coming into this week, the 3 major things that are happening, that like what they were giving me made so much sense of all of this stuff that we've attached to, we've been holding on to, really blinds us from like what else is out there, like externally, but also what else we haven't discovered about ourselves yet because these things are taking up so much space, right? So that's what's happening this week, is discovering that. What is the gift behind the darkness that you have been allowing to eclipse out, right? Again, whether that's your own skills, gifts, or even just like unexplored desires or just unexplored parts of self, or maybe like, just as an example, actually no, I can't think of an example. My brain is like my brain's like, no, don't even try to use too much brain power right now. Um, so that's something that's happening. So self discovery and self exploration, really more exploration than discovery, but also externally, what have you not done in life that you've always wanted to? Where have you always wanted to go that you've never been to because A, B, C, D, whatever, because of programming or because of fear, or because you just that sort of deal. So there's that. There is also another element that's really nice of more motivation and confidence and ease is coming up this week with taking control of our lives and also taking control of what can feel like our destiny, right? It's like we are the drivers of our life and we do have control over ourselves. We might not have a control over the external, right? But we have control over ourselves. And so, with all of this coming into new horizons and really a lot of self exploration, there's also this realization of I can actually do whatever I want to do. But as we are also doing that, it's going to highlight again anything that's getting in the way of us taking control over our own lives, over our own destiny, so to speak. The other thing, well, relationships. Relationships are our greatest teacher. They always have been. Always. Relationships this week are going to be a ride. Not necessarily bad. Not necessarily bad. It just is what it is. There's a lot of activity around Juno. Like, it's kind of insane how much activity there is around Juno this week, and Venus as well, especially circulating around Uranus and Neptune and Pluto and Lilith. It's a lot. It's a lot. We're going to get into it. But just know that when it comes to relationships and partnerships of all kinds, but especially like bonded relationships where you're like business partners, or you're in a marriage, or you're in a commitment of some kind, or you're working on something together, or you live together, or your family, right? Stuff like that. Can also pertain to romance, obviously, but just know that friendship is part of this too, okay? Any existing relationships, partnerships that are not healthy, they're gonna blow up. Sorry, this is what it is. They're gonna blow up in some way this week. The cracks will be obvious, just will. And for those where the relationships are healthy, if anything, there's just going to be a personal expansion. Definitely a lot more like just exploring and freedom and independence and all of that. Especially if people are very open-minded, it could be a really fruitful sort of week for people in healthy relationships. Now, for those who are more hermity, solo, rogue, or single, don't be surprised if people just start falling into your life, or there's really unexpected attraction to people that you're not normally attracted to. And just know it can feel a little whirlwind this week. White rabbit asteroids are part of this too, and we'll get into that. But that's what needs to be said about relationships. Now, the other thing is, these kinds of relationships, while they can be very sudden and very intense, they also can be very transformative. This is the kind of week to have experiences with relationships that are literally life-changing. Literally life-changing on all fronts. For better or for worse, life-changing and deeply transformative. Now, just know if you are like meeting new people right now, but especially in terms of like romance, most likely it is aspected to be short-lived. It doesn't have to be that way, but it just is highly likely that they're going to be for a season, but they're also going to be for a reason. Okay? Again, also very deeply transformative and life-changing. So if you start a fling this week, just enjoy the ride and, allow yourself to learn about yourself and explore yourself even by way of another person. So just enjoy that, okay? Also be mindful of spending this week. There might be a tendency to like overindulge and overdo, but really overspend with Venus and Uranus activity going on. But just wanted to mention that. Okay. This week we do have on August 2nd, Venus will be exactly square Uranus. And that is mostly pertaining to what I was speaking of in terms of relationships and also like the money factor. But also on the 4th, we have the new moon in Leo. And around that same time, Mercury will also go into its retrograde phase. Now, depending on where you are in the world, that could be the 5th of August or that could be the 4th of August. Just depends on where you're at. Mercury will start to retrograde at Virgo 4 degrees and then move into Leo. And then we'll go stationary direct, I believe, on the 25th of August. But the post shadow doesn't end until September 11th, if my memory serves. Now, also, just so you know, because we've been in the pre-shadow and this week is forecasted to have so much activity around relationships. I really want to say volatile, but volatile is not always bad. Volatile just means sporadic and crazy and volatile, right? Just know that anything that will continue to happen this week may also be tied into your Mercury retrograde experience for not just the entire month of August, but even going up through mid-September, okay? So just know that. So these people who might be coming in for a season, the season might be very short. They might be gone by fall. And if you also have some changes that happen in your established relationships, don't be surprised by that. Again, with this Venus Uranus activity and all this activity around Juno, but also moving into Mercury retrograde, it's not shocking if you do have some major changes in relationships, especially in terms of like how people may feel about you or see you. And again, it might be temporary for the purpose of this whole Mercury retrograde experience. Okay. So just wanted to mention that. That being said, I will say the signs that will be most impacted this week. So it was actually really hard to decide because there's so much activity, but Leo, Gemini, and Virgo, I would say, are the signs to watch this week just because of the amount of activity around those signs. So if you have any significant places in placements, in Leo, Gemini, or Virgo, I would just say you're really going to feel the intensity of these energies this week. Not necessarily anything bad will happen, you'll just really be feeling it, okay? And in terms of looking at your personal charts of where things are going down, we're about to get into the details of it anyway. But again, for those who just want the overview and not like the blow by blow explanation, Virgo, 25 to 29 degrees, so much happening there in terms of relationships and partnerships. Gemini, I actually have a big range for Gemini and Leo just because of the amount of activity, but Gemini, 5 to 20 degrees. Gemini is where we're going to feel the drive and motivation to actually go and explore, to actually go and do things we've never done, to actually go and learn a little bit more about ourselves, or even like I just heard try our hand, and actually Gemini is also like dominates the hands too. Oh, that's interesting. And to try our hand at expressing our gifts and skills in ways that we haven't been allowed to, or we haven't permitted ourselves to, or felt like was even possible. That might also come into play, along with communication, just because Gemini does real communication. Now with Leo, Leo also has a funky range because it's the Sun and Venus really going through a lot of aspects this week. But I wrote Leo 5 to 15 degrees, that's the Sun component. And then 25 to 29 degrees is the Venus component. Now, Leo is bringing up this strong desire for fun, for living life, for play, for pleasure, for romance, for whimsy, for sensuality, and to just kind of like get in that like yummy energy. Also very confident energy as well, and also that energy of taking control of our lives. That is coming by way of Leo. That is a very internal experience, but because Venus will be square Uranus, there may be some relationship stuff that plays out in that 25 to 29 degree Leo range. But just know that Leo is mostly internal, while Gemini is actually going to be manifesting externally, and Virgo is also going to be very external with what goes on with relationships, okay? Okay, that being said, let's go ahead and actually get into the astrology, starting with this first section of taking the reins of our life. Hold on, I'm gonna write down this timestamp. Okay, actually I need a little sip. It's a lot of talking already. Let's see where we're at. Time is weird. Yes, time is very weird. I can't even believe it's freaking August already. Like, August is the 1 month this year I've been like, not dreading, maybe a little bit of dreading, just like oh, August is gonna be a lot. Oh, August is gonna be intense. Like that's just kind of been in the back of my mind, you know? Timestamps. Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Don't stop reminding me because I do appreciate that, especially when I get deeper into my channeling mode. You guys know how I am. Dominique, thank you. Thank you. Oh, we got a little Superman emoji. Oh, that's cool. Or I don't know if it's a man or a woman. There's no like distinguishing features there, but super person. I love it. Thank you. Okay, let's get into the section here. So this is where we're going to have some help taking the reins of our life back. All right. So the sun being in Leo is also sextile Mars in Gemini this week and is also trine that I wrote the wrong symbol. It's definitely trine the North Node. Why did I write it like that? Probably tired brain. Anyway, sorry. ADD. Sun and Leo sextile Mars in Gemini. The sun will also be trine the North Node in Aries, while Mars is also sextile the North Node. This is happening for the entirety of the week, and then we have some activity towards the end of the week that I'm about to get into. But just know that trine between the sun and the North Node, while they're both sextile Mars and Gemini, that is a minor grand trine. That's what we refer to in astrology as a minor grand trine. So what's happening is this gift of the sun trine the North Node are unlocking opportunities by way of Mars. Excuse me. By way of Mars and Gemini. So this is what I was referring to before. That desire and motivation to go and try new things and broaden our horizons and even like try our hand at different skills and gifts that we haven't had time to explore or the bandwidth to explore. That is Mars and Gemini, right? So doing that is going to actually open doors and facilitate Sun and Leo trine the North Node in Aries. North Node is future energy. North Node is what we're learning to do, what we are expanding into, growing into as a collective, playing off of all that Leo energy. And when I felt into that, the Leo with the Aries, that felt very like, I am in charge. I am in charge. I am going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to put myself in a position to do what I want to do and what makes me feel good, what makes me feel alive, and what makes me feel confident, but all by way of exploration, right? And also keep in mind with Gemini, Leo, and Aries being in bed together, that's also some very flirty energy. Geminis love to flirt, so do Leos, and so do Aries. All three of those signs are very, 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 very playful, right? So just know that that's also there too. I'm not sure what to do. Wait, I'm not sure what to do. Wait, I know is retrograde sense, but dang. Oh, sorry, I don't totally understand. So just know that that is something that is happening this week that's helping us, again, take the reins of our life and being like, no, I can go and do this. I can go and have fun. I can go and learn this. I can go and try this. I'm not trapped in a box. I am not trapped by my past, right? It's very much that kind of energy, especially with the North Node being in there. Now, towards the end of the week, especially with the New Moon Leo energy, which by the way, I will be live this week for the New Moon Leo on Patreon to do our hangout. I just haven't designated a day. I was going to do that over the weekend, amongst other things, but I needed space for emotional things, emotional Chiron related things. But coming back, so towards the end of the week, as we're enjoying this energy, Jupiter is going to start joining the mix. Yeah, and again, this is an energy that will be there with the new moon, which means we're going to be feeling that actually for the next couple weeks. But the sun will be sextile Jupiter in Gemini, while the sun is opposing Chariklo in Aquarius. We haven't talked about Chariklo in a bit. And Jupiter in Gemini will also be trine Chariklo. All that is going to amplify our sense of optimism and also our charisma, our charisma skills, how charismatic we are. We'll also add a sense of fate and luck as well in the mix because Jupiter will be there too. So just know that that's something that's being added to this experience by the end of the week, okay? Now, for this particular section, this is the more detailed astrology for those who care. It's okay if you don't. Leo, 5 to 15 degrees. Gemini, 5 to 15 degrees. And then as a support, the North Node energy, Aries, 5 to 15 degrees is where a lot of this will be going down. Remember, Leo is much more of that internal drive and motivation, while Gemini is the external experience. And Aries to me just feels like support. So it's not necessarily anything to totally look at. You might just notice that the particular house that the North Node is transiting for you, that the North Node is in right now in your house of Aries, 5 to 15 degrees, you might just notice that there is some level of growth or progression or expansion there in your life on some level. But again, not one to have to worry about. Okay. Now, oh, discover what's been eclipsed by the shadows. Actually, yeah, let me rewrite that word. Okay. I'll put this at the 25 mark. Make sure my chat is doing okay here. It tends to glitch out. Oh, it did glitch out. all the chats just came through on my end. August is already intense and it's only July. I know. And yes, please like the video if you are enjoying it. It really does help the videos to circulate, and I know other people who come across them will appreciate you doing that. Okay. All right. Yes. Discover what's been eclipsed in the shadows. So, Jupiter in Gemini, this is speaking to the entirety of the week. Jupiter being in Gemini is also square Saturn in Pisces. We're starting to feel it, guys. I've talked about this before. Other astrologers have definitely spoken about this before, that this year, the latter half of the year, is going to be themed, if you will, under the umbrella of Jupiter in Gemini square Saturn in Pisces. Video is quite shaky? Wait, what do you mean? I don't understand. Anyway, so that square is peaking on August 19th, and then will peak again later in the year. I want to say in November. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it's in November. It's a really important aspect. Now, how it's playing into this current energy, I think, is actually more helpful than it could be in normal circumstances, and I'll get into why. Jupiter in Gemini is also square Orcus in Virgo. And Jupiter in Gemini also being trine Chariklo, which I mentioned earlier, and Saturn in Pisces is also trine Pallas Athena in Scorpio. That's something that we've been under for quite a bit, and it's continuing. And then by the end of the week, Saturn in Pisces will be opposing Orcus in Virgo. But maybe it's so shaky I don't even notice it. Not shaky, only when you write. Oh, it's because my phone is connected to my tripod, which is on the table, and the table is not like super solid. But I can't really do anything about that, so so that's my, it is what it is. It's what we're working with. If it really bothers you, I don't really know what to tell you. Sorry. Okay. So let's talk about these energies. So coming back to Jupiter square Saturn, the reason I feel like this square is not as threatening as I think a lot of astrologers are making it out to be is because Jupiter in Gemini is part of that force and influence that's motivating us to go and explore ourselves and explore what's outside of us that we haven't done so yet, right? While Saturn is saying, hey, I know you want to go do that, but make sure you're taking care of business in terms of your emotional matters and your spiritual matters. So I feel when I tuned into it, it felt like all that was really happening, at least for right now, and it might shift, obviously, as things shift, right? But for this week, it feels very much like we want to go and explore and expand and grow and learn about ourselves and the world and all these things, right? And what's possible for us in our life. And then Saturn is going, hey, while you're doing that, are you aware that this is still getting in your way? Atlas, hey, I almost reached out to you the other day. You've been on my mind. I'll probably hit you up soon. But coming back, sorry guys. The Saturn Pisces energy. Saturn feels like it's saying, hey, like, I know you want to do that. You know you want to do that, but here's what's getting in your way. Here's what you haven't worked through. Here's what you haven't let go of in order to actually go and experience that. And this can manifest into a lot of frustration, restlessness, a lot of like emotional mood swings, or feeling really trapped and stuck and stifled. And the more intense that gets, it's really just a red flag. It's really just an indicator of, hey, you're actually not dealing with things that are holding you back from what you actually want. So maybe go and sit and figure out what that is all that says, and that's all that what it feels like to me personally when I tuned into it intuitively. Okay, now it's still on the weak side. By the end of the week, they're 3 degrees away, so still on the weak side. But again, we're gonna keep getting this. Oh my God, word. Sorry. This energy is going to get more and more intense as we move up to August 19th. And keep in mind, August 19th is the full moon Aquarius. And I won't lie, that is an intense day. I'm not going to say it's bad, because I think that's a perceptual thing. It's just a really intense day because that full moon Aquarius has a really strong, grand, fixed cross. Always a really difficult aspect to work with and a very rare aspect. And actually moving forward, the full moons that we will be experiencing for the rest of the year, there's going to be a couple more that actually have a grand cross baked into it, which again is highly, highly rare. Whole other video to talk about that. But on August 19th, we have that energy. We're going to have the peak climax of Jupiter square Saturn. And then there's also a third thing. And the third one always always like escapes me. I want to say it's involving Neptune, but I could be totally wrong. But I feel like it does. I just don't totally remember. But just know August 19th is going to be an intense time. Okay. Now, while that is going on, the other thing that's helping here is Saturn being trine Pallas Athena in Scorpio. Again, we've been under that influence for weeks. Because Saturn has been moving really slow because it's been in its retrograde phase, and Pallas Athena also has been moving really slow as well. So I want to say we've actually been under that influence for well over a month. That feels right. That feels right. All that influence is helping us with is letting go of things, is allowing ourselves to get to like the deep nitty gritty of what are we dealing with emotionally or not dealing with emotionally, and what can we do? How can we rise to the occasion to deal with that and to make it right? Orcus being at play here is also doing something kind of interesting. As Jupiter is square Orcus and Saturn is opposing Orcus, these are not necessarily bad aspects. For those who are not familiar with Orcus, Orcus is just very Plutonian. Orcus really likes to punish the guilty. It's more of like a vengeful Plutonian kind of energy, but Orcus is also about healing modalities and knowledge and wisdom and learning, and also has a very karmic energy to it. Orcus always wants to put things right and put things in order, and so with it being in Virgo, that's kind of amplified because Virgo also likes to do that too. But coming back, so the Orcus Virgo component to me was feeling like there may be some things that come up this week that do need to be made right. I'm just going to leave it at that. That could be a karmic closeout. That could be apologies. That could be needing to do right by you, right? Balancing yourself or balancing something in your life, especially in terms of health or healing modalities. So that's there, but I wouldn't worry about it, you know? Yeah, so that's all I have to say about this little section. Now, as far as where to look in your houses for where this could be affecting you, Gemini and Pisces I prioritize because of that Jupiter square Saturn and Saturn being trine Pallas Athena. Now I gave them really big ranges because of all the activity that's going on. But Gemini 10 to 20 degrees is that Jupiter energy, which again is that part of us that wants to explore self and explore life. And then Pisces 10 to 20 degrees, that is that feeling of we do have some spiritual and soul matters that we need to prioritize and take care of. So we can actually indulge in that Gemini energy. When we have a square, okay, well, let me back up. Squares and oppositions are looked at as difficult aspects in astrology. And when you really think about it, there's actually way more positive and helpful aspects than negative per se. But square is by far more challenging than the opposition because oppositions are just about balancing the polarity, right? Like Leo Aquarius is a polarity, they're opposites, but they're two sides of the same coin. So it's just about honoring both. When you have a square, it actually is more of a conflict sort of a space to be in. So it's a little harder. So it is about honoring both, but just know there may be times where one has to take precedent over the other. There may be times, not just this week, but even in the coming weeks, because this is a long-term aspect, especially with the moon cycles that I talked about, right? So just know there may be times when you do have to isolate and be alone and work on yourself and be accountable to your emotions and your spiritual shit, even if you want to go and frolic and play. And that might be a hard choice to make, and it might even make you feel more emotional and upset, but it has to be honored. And then quite the opposite, right? There may be times when you're really in the thick of exploring and learning and talking and being social when really you need some downtime, but maybe you've already made commitments in this realm, right? And you have to honor that commitment, and then you can come back here. It's not an equal balance when we're talking about a square. It's honoring both, but it may be in unequal ways or unexpected ways. So just know that that is there, okay? And that's just kind of how it goes. Now, Virgo and Aquarius are supportive here. And again, I would not even really worry about it. I'm just letting you know Virgo and Aquarius are support. But for this, I'd focus on Gemini and Pisces, all right? Now, let's move on to the last section. This is a biggie. have a whole page just for this section. I've always wondered too if anyone ever came across all my astrology notebooks, because by this point in my life, like, because when I do these, I have a set notebook where I have organized notes, not just like to have on hand to do these, but that I can also look back on as I'm like trying to prepare for seminar coursework and stuff like that, just to consolidate information easier. But I do wonder if like people ever come across my astrology notebooks, if it would even make any sense. Just because the way that I write for my brain, for my neurodivergent brain. Let me get a little sip and then we'll dive into this, okay? Hey PR, thank you for coming. Grand squares are no joke. Right. I know that's why the full moon in Aquarius has me like okay. Like we can navigate any energy if we really want to. We can navigate anything individually. We really can. It just, it's just not a walk in the park, so to speak, but we can handle anything. Just keep telling yourself that you can handle anything. It's fine. Again, grand crosses are not necessarily bad. They're just very rare and they pose very unique challenges. So for those who are not familiar, grand squares and grand crosses are just names for the same thing, okay? It's when you have two polarities that are activating each other. So think of it like Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus. So you have an opposition there and you got an opposition there, but because they're all fixed signs, they're also square, 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 square. So think of like a diamond, like a square, but then they also has a giant cross in the middle because of the oppositions. So it's like, that's why they have those interchangeable names, but it's like taking the entire experience of what it is to be a fixed sign and mastering all of those signs in harmony together. It's asking a lot. It's asking a lot. Again, doesn't have to be awful. It's just a unique experience. Maybe they'll start saying that instead of difficult. It's a unique experience. Okay. There was a Grand Cross in 99 and I divorced my husband and changed my life. Grand Crosses have this way of creating like, oh my God, a lot of change and a huge challenge in how you're going to be adapting. Grand crosses teaches adaptability. That's why grand mutable crosses are the easiest crosses to deal with compared to fixed, which doesn't want anything to do with adaptability, right? I'm a Saturn square sun, aqua to sun already. Did not know this. Good to know. Thank you. Oh yeah, you're welcome. I really do plan on doing like seminars, astrology seminars and things like that. With all the energies that have been going on, I've just been trying to honor the energies really. I was thinking about that in bed last night. I didn't mean to go on a whole tangent. Can't help myself. It's just who I am. It's been on my mind because I'm like, I really wanted to just jump in and get started, but I know there's a timing to everything. And I know for myself personally, just the personal cycle I'm in right now is a really big one that does cause a huge, how do I want to say? Well, just major breaking apart of life, I guess is a good way to say that. So I'm just very aware of that. And I'm just trying to be like accepting of that and just know that, yes, there are things I want to do and they will happen in the right time when it's the right energy. And I'm trying not to get frustrated about it. The Cappy and me and Scorpio and me are just like, do it. But it's like, no, there is a timing. There's a timing. As is and when you will become. Yes. Oh, thank you, Alejandra. I know. I know I've got such an amazing soul fam, like, with all of you guys. Like, I know I do. And I'm so grateful. So grateful. But anyway, let's get into this last section because clearly I'm in a chatty mood today. Okay. Unexpected, life-changing relationship events. Now, when I say the word relationship, that encompasses any kind of relationship, like friends, coworkers, acquaintances, family, romance, blah, 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 right? Now, partnership is also involved in this too. And when I say partnership, I just want to make sure I'm really like giving you the proper definitions before I go further into this. When I say partnership, I mean bonded relationships where there's an agreement, there's a contract, like marriage or family or business partners. So just there is a distinction there between relationship and partnership. Okay. Now, well, where to start? So, like I said, Juno, I'll start with Juno and Virgo. Juno is in Virgo, and Juno is being very active this week. I don't think I've ever, in all of the years I've been doing this, at least on YouTube, I don't think I've ever seen Juno so activated. And it almost makes me wonder, like, anyone who's born at this time, like, what their chart is gonna be like. Like, oh shit. Like, anyone who's born at this time, they're kind of gonna be Juno, like, not led per se, unless like a Virgo rising, but highly influenced. Highly influenced. Yeah, if anyone's like about to pop a baby out this week, just know like your baby might literally, their lives may be dictated by, not, I don't want to even say that. I'm not going to say that spell. Never mind. Juno will be a huge influence in their chart. I'll just say it that way. But let's talk about Juno and Virgo. So Juno in Virgo is moving from 26 to 28 degrees this week. When we talk about Juno, Juno rules marriage and partnership. Okay, partnership in the way I've defined it earlier. All right. Now, Juno in Virgo specifically relates more to partners where there's a lot of integrity, there is a lot of support, and there's an ease and a high capacity for cultivating. Okay. And so as a collective energy, these are partnerships that we are not prioritizing, but that we care more about. We just care more about relationships right now where there is support, there is integrity, there is reciprocity, and also there's a high capacity to cultivate with each other. That is what is being prioritized collectively. Okay. That being said, let's get into some of these aspects. Oh, I just got dizzy. Uranus is in Taurus and is trine Juno, very closely trine Juno, while Uranus is also sextile Neptune. While Neptune is opposing Juno and is also sextile Pluto. While Pluto is trine Juno and is also trine Lilith. Pluto's really interesting this week too. And it's here presently this week, but it actually gets stronger next week. While Juno will be trine Lilith. That's everything Juno's doing. Juno is really in the mix, okay? We do have some long-standing aspects that are just there. Again, you don't have to worry about it or think about it too hard. We've been under these influences for months now of Uranus sextile Neptune and Neptune sextile Pluto. That's just really helping for like the bigger picture of innovation, of really seeing what works and doesn't work collectively and also individually and what changes we can make in terms of that. But that is more of a collective, global, collective impact of just changing infrastructure and beliefs around systems and community. So we already know that's happening. Just wanted to speak on it, but let's come back to Juno. So just to reiterate, Uranus trine Juno, Pluto trine Juno, Neptune opposing Juno, Lilith trine Juno, and Pluto trine Lilith. I know it's a lot. Don't get too caught up in your heads about it. The way that all of this plays out together, okay, Juno with Uranus brings that unexpected kind of like lightning bolts in relationships. You could say towers. Towers are not always destructive. Towers can also be just epiphanies or just the unexpected, right? So unexpected attraction, unexpected outbursts, unexpected people coming into your life, so to speak, right? That's all that's alluding to. Now, Pluto trine Juno brings more of those transformative experiences, of life-changing experiences. And while Pluto is also working with Lilith, and Lilith is starting to work with Juno, again, more next week, Pluto, Lilith, Juno is a deep dive into self by way of relationships, where it's almost like interacting with certain people, especially if anyone has like very strong Virgo in their chart, allows you to really see parts of yourself you've never seen before, or they can pull things out of you that you didn't even know were there. So again, more of that self-discovery, life transformative stuff. Neptune opposing Juno actually brings some confusion as to what is realistic, what is practical, what is fantastical about certain people that you're involved with, especially more in terms of partnership versus relationship. So I know it's a lot of things, and I'm going to tie it all in a neat little bow for you at the end. I just want to let you guys know what's up, okay? All that is to say is that there is going to be sudden changes, sudden attractions, and sudden events in terms of all of our relationships, but more so in partnership. So if you are partnered in the definition that I've deemed as partnership, right? What you can expect is if it's healthy and both people are open-minded, it's a time of expansion and growth of self and your partnership. Beautiful, amazing, right? Now, if you're partnered and it's unhealthy, the cracks of your relationship will show. Deal with that how you want, okay? Venus square Uranus also plays into this, and I'm gonna get there. Just hang in there with me. Now, if you're single, yes, you can meet people right now and have like sudden attraction to people right now, but it may be more short-lived of an experience or of an affair, so to speak, but it could still be very transformative and life-changing. So in my opinion, it's still kind of worth it. I mean, honestly, if it's going to be transformative and you get to really learn so much more about yourself than you would otherwise, why not enjoy that for those where that applies? Okay. Now, the way that Venus and Uranus play into this, because it's very similar energy since Juno speaks to partnerships and Venus speaks to relationships. Venus squares Uranus whole week, but it peaks on August 2nd. Yes, there's a component of money and finances that we do need to keep our eyes on our money and our finances and our wallets. So do that. And overindulgence, be mindful. But that square really speaks more to volatility in relationships. Okay. So just know that it's supporting everything I already said about Juno and all the activity around Juno. So I just wanted to mention that. I feel like there's actually one more thing I wanted to say about Venus. Thank you. Freedom. I was waiting for them to tell me. Freedom. Freedom and independence. Because we also have so much energy that's like, hey, go and explore, go try new things, go be the person you never thought you could be. When it comes to relationships, again, if it's unhealthy or there's a lack of independence already, or there is obsessive behavior or whatever, right? This might be a time where you need to take some space from certain people, friendships, or partnerships for the purpose of fulfilling that for yourself. And again, healthy relationships with open minded people, this should not be a problem. If anything, it will deepen your relationship with each other. But this is also going to be a week of affairs. Sorry, it's just kind of astrologically aspected for that, especially with Uranus still working with Algol, that fixed star. That's just there, you know. That doesn't have to be bad. It just is what it is. Now, a couple other things to mention about these energies. Venus is also creating some other activity that changes from beginning of the week to the end of the week. The beginning of the week, Venus is actually trying Chiron and Eris, working with that Chiron energy that's been kind of opening us up the last few days. That Chiron, Eris, Venus energy to me felt really good. It felt like being able to honor our sense of play and being able to do so in a way that's very healing, while at the same time could be bringing up things that again are unresolved and maybe a little painful. It will facilitate healing and therefore more fun and ease to come later, right? Now, one last thing, the White Rabbit asteroid. I know, I'm kind of obsessed with it. By the end of the week, especially on the new moon in Leo, Venus will be conjunct the White Rabbit asteroid, while Mercury is actually conjunct the White Rabbit asteroid the entire week. So, what does this mean? As far as all these relationship stuff, this also ties it to Mercury retrograde. So, kind of what I mentioned in the overview of just be mindful that the choices we make and what we open doors to and decide to let in this week will probably be with us at least through mid-September, especially new people, okay? And White Rabbit is an energy that circulates around curiosity, but also circulates around like opening unexpected doors, like kind of like falling down the rabbit hole, like a very Alice in Wonderland, and will create opportunities where massive changes will come later, but in very unexpected ways. It also has like a side quest kind of feeling to it, especially this week. So again, if you open doors to certain relationships, don't be surprised if you open a side quest, if you will, that you're going to be managing, navigating on top of your already designated path that you've chosen for yourself. And again, that will probably play out at least to mid-September when the post shadow ends from Mercury retrograde. And again, the relationships that are started this week, they're not necessarily aspected to last long term. Doesn't mean they won't. They're just more aspected towards short term reasons and seasons. Okay? Still life changing. So I know it was a lot of information, but I just wanted to give you guys everything. Now, as far as where in your charts to look for all of this to play out, Virgo, 25 to 29 degrees, that is Juno. That is the whole partnership, crazy, crazy. And volatility and changes and all of that will be going down. That is a very external experience. Leo 25 to 29 still feels very internal to me, but you still may experience some relationship stuff that takes place there. And keep in mind, that's also where Mercury will eventually retrograde. It just starts in Virgo 4 degrees, okay? And goes all the way to Leo 21 degrees, just to let you know. And then Taurus 25 to 29, that it just feels like a major change agent. So there may be some, hold on, I just heard the word propelled. It's like the trigger point. It's like the trigger point. So unexpected attractions and events that take place may be triggered from the house of Taurus. I'm trying to think of how that would even look. Hold on, let me use my own chart to give you guys an example, because I know that is my 11th house. That's the trigger. Okay. Virgo for me is 3rd, 4th. Ooh. And then Leo is 2nd and 3rd. That's internal mostly. Okay. So as an example, using my own chart, Venus is going to be moving through my 2nd to 3rd house. And again, that's more of the internal experience for the most part, like internal desire for fun and play and frolic and all that good stuff. Okay. Okay. So that I think would probably translate more to confidence, actually, with it being the second house transition to the 3rd house. Like thank you, confidence of expression. Okay. Confidence of expression, learning to express myself in ways I haven't before. Okay. And the trigger point will be through my 11th house through Taurus. That feels like an epiphany, actually. Epiphany, realization. Change in dreams and hopes. Okay. For a change in my 3rd and 4th house, that to me feels like connections. Like deepening connections from friends to family, because it's that transition. So for me, so again, just trying to use my chart as an example for you guys. So if we're looking to Leo for the more internal experience, like internal drive for more passion and fun and play and creativity and creative expression and all of that, and looking to Virgo for the external changes, and looking to Taurus for the trigger point, what's activating some of this, for me, it would be the trigger is happening in my 11th house. And to me, that feels more like a certain shift in my own like vision of dream, or even like hopes. It feels like there may be an epiphany coming for me in the 11th house, just because of the nature of the 11th house. So whatever shift I'm having in my personal vision of what I want is also coinciding with more confidence in expressing myself, and more confidence in like ways I decide to even be creative and share that with people. And then that in turn will cause a shift in my friendships that I also consider really close, or even maybe even becoming more like family from a friendship. So that's kind of interesting. I can see that. Interesting. So that's an example. That's an example. Geez, Taurus Sun, Virgo Ascendant, Leo Moon. I think that's good though. I think that's good. I think anybody who was really like significant Virgo, Gem, Leo, Taurus placements this week, I think it's only going to be good. Honestly, really, truly. I truly believe that. Okay. All right. So that's all the astrology. I'm going to take another little sippy sip before we get into collective. I don't know if we're doing groups again. I'm going to take a minute and let that become obvious as I light another incense. Actually, I guess I could put these away. All right. So much energy. It's a good week though, guys. It is. It's a good week. I don't know if you guys just heard Clyde. He just had this big old sigh when I said that. You okay, mister? Like, I'm trying to sleep. Leave me alone. Let me sleep on my cat tree. Timestamps. Don't worry. I'm ready. Totally ready. I'm scared. Don't be scared. It's a good week. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. And like I said, with all this like explore and expand, discover yourself and discover what else is out there, with all of that excitement, it feels very exciting. All that excitement, yes, it will highlight what is keeping you from doing that. And that could be hard, that could be sad, that could be painful, that could be really emotional. But if you allow yourself to move through it, you just continue to liberate yourself into unexplored territory of self, which is great. That's amazing. That's amazing. And with the new moon also creating a sextile with Jupiter, that's something to look forward to at the end of the week. Even though we have this really intense full moon, grand cross, Jupiter square Saturn energy coming, let's just focus on the present. Let's just focus on now and how amazing and good it is now. I hope you do astrology classes one day. I really do intend to. I intend to. I'm like I said earlier, I'm also just very aware of my personal cycles that I'm in the midst of the collective energy. And everything has its time and place. It's something I have been seeding for a long time. I've been putting energy into for a long time, and it'll come to pass when it comes to pass. But yes, I definitely intend to. I just, need to honor certain things first. Okay. Just trying to shift gears into channeling collective energy, coming out of astrology brain, doing the shift from like astrology brain to channel sometimes takes a minute. I'm already getting some things. Are we doing groups today? They're not being clear yet. They just want me to write stuff down. Actually, do I have, let me use another paper. Yeah, let me use you. I don't want to write in my astrology book. Okay. Definitely getting a blossoming, which makes sense with all this energy. They were showing me, is that a lily or hibiscus? It almost looks like a lily hibiscus combination. They're showing me like a blossoming flower, and they gave me the Jupiter sign. Makes sense. Okay. Hearing the word reluctance. There may be a need to confront fear specifically. I'm doing some automatic writing today. Oh shit, I need to do a timestamp. I said I was ready to do timestamp, and I did not. I'll just do 57 minutes for this. Reluctance, fear of what's difficult. Fear of what's difficult. Okay, they're giving me an animal, but it's weird. I don't know. I feel weird about it. I don't know why I feel so weird about it. They're giving me a gorilla. Don't know what to make of that. There's something about that gorilla energy that feels like there's fear around it for some reason. I mean, like, yeah, it feels like aggression. Wait, aggression. For some, there may be a fear of aggression as far as experiencing it from another person. And for some of you, you may be afraid of your own aggressive behavior capability. There's something deeper there. I'm getting like red, definitely getting the color red there. Obviously, this is not for everybody. It's just some things may be coming up for some people. Yeah, it feels like anger. Fear of anger, fear of your own anger. Anger is a really interesting emotion, though, to put, thank you. Oh, so many things coming in, to put into balance. Hold on, they're giving me Sekhmet and Ma'at. Delivery, oh, okay. Here we go. Delivery of anger to Ma'at, which is justice, balance. How to deliver anger to Ma'at. If you're not familiar with Ma'at, that's okay. Feels like it does. It feels like a gifting, which can be a form of sacrifice. Sacrifice comes from the word sacred, which is like the practice of sacrifice is to make something sacred. We let something go and give something up to spirit, to the ether, for it to come back sacred, or just as an offering, right? But it is also just a way of letting go and releasing. is a form of sacrifice. Is a form of sacrifice. I know I'm saying a lot, so just hang in there with me. We're coming full circle here. We're coming full circle. This is just how I get channelings. It literally goes like this, like a spiral. The delivering of our own anger and our own aggression to Ma'at is also just the practice of sacrifice. It's the practice of forgiveness. It's the practice of letting go. It's the practice of taking that and really seeing what's behind it. Even that is, this is just spirit channeling through me, even that is a sacred practice. Even turning anger into sacred rage, like how to even transmute anger to sacred rage. It's like taking, like weeding off the distortion of your anger to make it sacred, and even sitting with that and then relinquishing that to even as a sacred practice. Okay. As a sacred practice. What are you angry about? I feel like this is a really strange channeling, but I'm almost feeling like angry about one's own fear. Because anger to me is just an extension of sadness, right? Can you be angry about your own fear? Yeah, I guess you can. Because you could be sad about being afraid too. It's a lot of mixed bag emotions I'm tuning into here. It feels tangled. I feel like I'm tuning into like a tangled knot of emotions, of sadness and fear, but there's a manifestation of anger. To untangle it, you just need to start untangling it. So if anybody's resonating with this, to untangle your knot of these complicated emotions, you just have to start, right? And if there's just this continued, it's just there, it's just there, it's just there, it's just going to continue to be a knot, right? So to start untangling it, you'd have to just start. Oh, my heart just went, ah. You have to just start. And start with the anger. Where are your emotions taking you? Hold on. When you allow yourself to follow your emotions, the trail of emotions, you can start to untangle this knot, but you also can start to allow emotions to actually flow where they once could not flow. This is also part of the working through the sludge, the shadow that has eclipsed the light, that has also eclipsed you and your own gifts and your own skills, and what has been waiting there, sitting there, eclipsed by the shadow of this knot of emotions. Okay. It's almost like that. I'm coming back to the gorilla. It's almost like coming back to that gorilla energy. It's almost like the gorilla is like the manifestation of this knot of emotions. This could be for you. This could be for people around you. This could even explain certain people's behavior that has just been confusing for you. Because it's like if any of you have ever seen an angry gorilla, it's a sight. It's kind of scary, to be honest. Monkeys kind of scare me. Just as a personal thing, they do. They totally freak me out. It's like when you see them in person, you can really see like the humanoid, and that's kind of freaky. But then you see like their sheer strength and just primal use of their strength in aggressive ways. It's very bizarre. But I do feel like it's speaking to that, like a very primal expression of this knot of emotion that hasn't been untangled. So how many people in your life are acting like gorillas? And how much are you acting like a gorilla? And I want to say there's nothing innately wrong with that. It's just an indication of what kind of emotional knot has yet to be untangled, right? And once you get to the aggression and the anger, you can understand what about that is sacred rage and what about that is distorted. Then you can take that sacred rage and you can start to get to the grief behind that. You can start to get to what is really truly behind that. Bring it into balance, right? It's like when you start to move through the grief and the sadness, you start to really acknowledge the fear that's also there. And then you start to really acknowledge what's behind all of that, which is just love, right? That's how you give that to Ma'at. Ma'at, thank you, holding space, thank you. Ma'at is that energy that helps to restore balance by also holding space for that sacred rage. How do you, oh, so many chills when I said that. How do you hold space for yourself to be an angry gorilla that can start untangling your own knot of emotion, right? How do you do that? Do you know how to do that? This is a practice that's worth exploring for those who are struggling to untangle their knot of emotions. Okay. Now, when it comes to other people, if someone is in gorilla mode, I don't recommend holding space for them unless you're a professional. And even then, maybe not. Even then, maybe not. Because if someone is in that state, they're primal. They're in their primal brain. And primal human brain is kind of scary. I feel like I was talking to a friend about this recently. Primal human brain is kind of dark. Okay. I fully believe anyone is capable of anything if pushed to the limit, or also left with so much unresolved stuff that they just start operating from such a primal place, right? And that's when bad things can happen. Not trying to put fear out there, but it just is what it is. Humans are capable of anything, okay? Especially when left in these states and no tools, and ever-growing frustration and anger. So, just something to throw out there. I want to move out of that. Can we move into something else? I think that's all that needs to be said there. The number 3. Okay, I think we're getting into groups now. Blue, is this Lapis? Lapis Lazuli. Okay, I feel like I got group 1. Am I waiting for the other groups? Yes. Okay, works for me. All right. So group 1, let's get into your energy. So they were showing me Lapis Lazuli and the number 3, very significant there. Group 1, you may have strong Leo in your chart. Not necessarily. We are in Leo season. Hold on, just feeling out what decks want to be pulled up here. Herbal Astrology feels good. Definitely the Fae. Maybe you. Let's start with Herbal Astrology. How many groups? I don't know yet. We're flowing. All right. Group 1. Yeah, this feels very Leo. Very, very Leo. Especially with like Lapis Lazuli, the blue and the gold, like, and the number 3. Like 3 to me is like a fiery kind of elemental energy frequency. You guys love how I'm speaking today. Very catalytic. Excuse me. Initiation. I wanted to say initiator, and initiation came out. But what's going on for group 3? Group 3, it feels like you have been moving more solidly into your personal seat of power, is what I want to say. You maybe still be working on some heart stuff. My heart is doing all kinds of weird things being in your energy. You may be having to deal with gorillas in the way we described before externally, but I think you are dealing with it because you've dealt with your own gorilla. The gorilla version of you, so to speak. And frustrations. I'm getting the word frustration. You've worked through some frustrations as well. I feel like you were trying to like very patiently deal with certain people while also just maintaining self. That's a great place to be. It feels so Leo. It feels so Leo. I almost am doing like this. Like it's a little bit of like, it's like a little 7 of Wands meets King of Wands kind of energy. Like I am good and I am solid, and I am good and I am solid. Almost like you're asserting yourself, but not. It's like very strange. You're like you're exuding. Thank you. That's the word. You're exuding a lot of fiery energy, but I feel like you're very like maintained. Okay. I won't lie. It feels a little postury, maybe just a little bit. Any messages or insight? Almost said Leo for group 1, please. What's going on for group 1? I'm starting to get an air energy. I don't know. Is this you or is this someone else? I gotta be honest, group 3, it feels like, and maybe this is a really recent energy, I'm getting like King of Wands, Queen of Swords, like I'm needing to balance that that's Libra Leo, which normally goes really well together, but I just got this like whiff of air and I saw the Queen of Swords, excuse me. And it was interesting, almost like Queen of Wands though. It feels like there's a piece of you that like, yeah, you're trying to like almost like bring into the fold while maintaining this like, I'm good, like I am strong and I am confident. And maybe behind closed doors, you're not that confident. This is group one. And maybe behind closed doors, you're not that confident. There's something going on behind closed doors that you're not letting people see. And I feel like there's something between King of Wands and Queen of Swords with you, and almost like you're trying to like shift your own Queen of Swords energy into Queen of Wands, which is interesting. And some of you, this could be manifesting externally between you and another person. I don't know. Let's get into this. Any messages or insights for group one, please? Oh, well, we do have the Weaver. Lavender coming out here with a mercurial energy and number of 20 breaking down to a 2. I love this card. It's very spider energy, and it is about the network, so to speak, and making connections. It is very much that vibration of 3, even though it has a 20, which is the 0 point working through the 2, the God energy, right? Working through the energy of partnership and even union of self. There's a little union of self energy here between this like King of Wands, Queen of Swords vibe that I can feel it. It's like you're trying to get that Queen of Swords into Queen of Wands energy. And if this is happening with another person, it's like you're trying to help them shift. I won't lie. Some of you may be trying to manipulate another person into shifting that way. Doesn't really matter what your intentions are there, but I can feel it. It's like we need to change a Queen of Swords to a Queen of Wands. Like that's what I'm feeling here. To get things flowing. Interesting. To get things flowing, to get things on track, to put things together. For those where you are dealing with another person in this energy, you're definitely cultivating together, like on a project, or this is a work relationship, or you just have a plan. Right? Mercury, you just have a plan. But lavender is also very loving energy and also has like a third eye sort of component to it. And sometimes can be gentle, but I don't feel like you're in gentle energy. I don't. I feel like you're in fire. I feel like you're in firm energy and you're wanting something to work a certain way and you are trying to make it happen. But I feel like, oh, thank you, Rockin' Robin. Thank you. But that Queen of Swords to Queen of Wands shift, I feel like there's a weird struggle there. And I feel like that struggle, something about the struggle is behind closed doors. Or you're not like being very honest about it, especially if you're dealing with another person, you're not being honest with that, you're not being honest about that with them. And if this is something you're trying to do internally, you're not sharing it with other people. Can I get one more, please? Can I get one more for group one? I'm getting very strong lion energy. Milk thistle, peaceful warrior. Yeah, Mars and Moon. This is also a really interesting card. Oh, and 23, breaking down to a 5. The peaceful warrior card, it can speak to the compassionate leader, more of like matriarchal leader, divine warrior even sort of vibe, but it is for the purpose of like we need more gentility in the space. Hold on a second. I'm also getting the word protection. It's so bizarre because like on the surface this looks very like fluffy and very warm, but energetically it feels really tense. It's making my heart hurt. It feels really, really tense, and there's unspoken things, and there's like frustration with trying to get something in line and trying to get something going. And even the peaceful warrior energy with the moon and Mars, that is a weird combination when you get those two in a room together, because it brings into the room the subconscious and the emotional body and even psychic awareness, and then this desire to destroy, this desire to make things happen and cause change. And I can feel the frustration there. It's like on the surface it looks gentle, but deep down or internally or behind closed doors there is something very frustrating and almost like that feeling of anger. And I feel like there is a little bit of a front going on with trying to maintain this contain your composure, maintain your composure. I want to say, yeah, let's go ahead and pull some other cards here. More gentility is required. There's no doubt. More gentility. More patience is required here. Using the Fae Oracle, moving into this. Any other messages or insights for group 1? Yeah, even the image of the honey badger. If anybody knows anything about honey badgers, they're a little cray-cray. Okay? They're highly aggressive and destructive. It's like that's what I feel like is going on under the surface. Yeah, it's like this situation needs to be met with patience and with love and gentility and compassion. Whether it's for yourself or for another person. Because like I said, some of you this is manifesting externally, but most of you this is an internal experience you're having. And it's like there's something that's trying to shift with your own feminine energy. Oh, we've got the Maiden with 14 breaking down to a 5. This is like precious, innocent baby energy. This is the energy that I would say is like on the surface. And I recognize, thank you, recognize. Honey badger don't give a shit. Exactly. I heard recognize this energy, recognize this energy, recognize this energy, recognize the innocence and the fragility. Thank you. I don't really like that word, but that's what's coming through. Recognize the innocence and fragility within yourself or within this person. And it's not about the situation. It is about you or a person that you're dealing with. Recognize the Maiden. Recognize this innocent, fragile, pure, almost like inner child baby-like energy within them or within yourself. It's like allowing yourself to recognize that allows yourself to move into patience and compassion is what I meant to say, into patience and compassion for yourself and for this person, and to move away from frustration. Some of you, what you're frustrated about is actually rooted in some sort of control, needing to have control, wanting to have control, even from your own place of innocence. Probably some inner child stuff there. All right, let's keep going. Any other messages or insights for group 1? Yeah, I'm hearing the word protect, 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 protect. I want to say uphold more than protect, like uphold the innocence. Uphold the innocence in yourself and in the other person. Honor that. Ooh. And then I can never say some of these. Tating? The self. We'll just call her the self. 45 breaking down to a 9. Lots of 4s coming in now with 14 and 45 coming in here. This is a mercurial energy as well. This is about very fast moving energy, or even like new ideas and new inspiration, but very, very fast. Very, very fast. It's almost like once you honor this and really uphold the protection of this within yourself or another person, that's when flow happens. That's when the flow will really happen, because there is frustration that's getting in the way of honoring that and recognizing that this is present, that is an energy that exists within you and within this other person. So the sooner you recognize that and the sooner you work through your own frustration, the faster things are going to move. The faster things are going to flow, and also the quicker things are going to come together in the way that you want to, because this is definitely for a group who's trying to cultivate something very specifically and very tangibly. All right, let me get one more, please. Can I get one more for the collective? Not a collective, for group 1, please. For the collective of group 1. Starting to get a bear, like bear medicine. Oh, I think that's group 2 trying to creep in. Yeah, it feels like group 2 trying to creep in. Can we stay focused on group 1, please? Group 1, if you are posturing, stop posturing. Just stop. Just stop it and start working from this place. start working from this very innocent, authentic place. And yes, it feels childlike, but it's not weak. I mean, it's literally, it's actually very strong because it is so pure. But again, more speaking to people who are posturing a little bit. Can I get another card for group 1, please? Just one more. Ooh, is this what I think it is? Ha ha. Ha ha. Unity. Oh, I love that. I love that. Yes. So group 1, there is this, like, remember I said you're trying to like almost bring a Queen of Swords into a Queen of Wands, which would match the King of Wands energy that is coming into place of unity of self, right? But if you are trying to cultivate something with another person, there needs to be this coming from a very pure place, okay? A very innocent place to actually come together with another person to cultivate properly whatever it is you're trying to cultivate. That's why unity is here. I don't even need to even, oh my God, words, sorry. I don't even need to further explain why unity is here. It's very clear. It's very, very clear, okay? Are we gonna do animals or just go straight into tarot? Tarot, okay. All right, we're gonna pull some tarot cards and move on to group 2. Starting to get like a sing-songy like kind of vibe. Maybe some of you guys like to sing. Maybe some of you, there's some throat stuff happening here too. I just like, I don't know, I just feel this very like playful sing-songy kind of vibe. Almost like for anybody who grew up in the 80s and 90s, those old Disney sing-along videos, like kind of like that. That was the vibe that just came through. So maybe it's just a memory from childhood for some people. Okay. Group 1, I like this. Let's see. 4 of Cups coming out. So 4 of Cups coming out is kind of what I was getting already. It's like, there, with the frustration that I was feeling, there is something that you are not seeing. There is something that you are avoiding emotionally, and it's the maiden. It is your own innocence. It's your own innocence. You could say it's your inner child. You could say it's your soul, but ignoring something that emotionally is creating frustration just gets in the way of that, and also gets in the way of you dealing with not just yourself, but with other people, and certainly anything you're trying to cultivate, especially with another person. So time to take some time, okay? If any of you are feeling that frustration, you got to take some time. Go sit by your meditation tree in your meditation garden and go within yourself and acknowledge shit you're not acknowledging. It's really kind of quite simple. Like there's also that energy of like the past too that I was talking about earlier in the overview. This like constant looking and attaching to what has already been gone, or what is empty, or what isn't even in your present. So again, speaking to how important presence is right now, and not acknowledging what is in your present and what is there for you to work with and cultivate and actually acknowledge, and what is pure and what is true. So stop looking at the past, stop looking at what actually isn't even there, and also stop fixating on anything that's building the frustration, and look at what you actually need to look at, what even Spirit is saying it's time to acknowledge, okay? All right, moving on. Acknowledge the cup, acknowledge the maiden, okay? They just showed me what's behind the 4 of Cups. So what is the thing you are not acknowledging and what you're fixating on? It's exactly what I thought. It's the 5. You think you're looking at 3 cups that are upright, they're spilt. So some of you, the way this is like, excuse me, the way this is coming through, some of you who are like attaching or fixating on certain things, some of you are trying to cultivate even from these 3 of Cups, not realizing they're done. Not realizing not only do they not actually exist, but they're not recoverable. It's almost, I don't want to say a fantasy, but it's like, I feel like it's rooted in some of that energy I was talking about before, right? Where there's like emotional attachment to the past, or memories, or things that you thought you really, like felt really good to you, only to realize, no, that's actually done, and you haven't noticed that they're spilt, and you need to move on. The other thing that I love about the 5 of Cups card is that there is a Two of Cups energy standing upright that you're not looking at, which does speak to other people and other partnerships and even the union of self. It's almost like there's a stuck energy, even like emotional energy or mental energy for some of you on who you've been and not who you are, where there needs to be almost like this meeting of self in the present and not in the past. Okay. Some of you, it's also just old unresolved wounds and grief and things of that nature. But what's behind the Four of Cups and the frustration is something that needs to be let go of. Some sort of sadness, some sort of grief, or some old past energy that just does not exist in your present. You need to recognize it does not exist in your present. Okay. Whew. Also with the Four and the Five of Cups, there's an Ace of Cups energy there, which to me, it just represents the heart and the soul, your truest heart's desires, or even a new beginning that is very emotional and very tied to your soul. Okay. Can I get one more? Is this a collective reading? It's we're doing groups today. I don't know how many groups, so this is still the first group and we're about to wrap it up. One last card for group one. That group two is trying to come in hard though. Ah! Cards flying everywhere. Interesting. So remember I was getting like King of Wands and Queen of Swords? Now we have a King of Swords with the Seven of Pentacles. Needing to evaluate. Oh, thank you. Stop forcing. Because I kept getting that feeling like this King of Wands energy was trying to get Queen of Swords energy to be like Queen of Wands. It's like, or you can just honor the flow. You can just honor what is actually truly existing in the present, which is the air energy. So it's almost like this feeling of, instead of trying to force a part of you to fall in line, just flow with it and just match it and just meet yourself there. And for those who are dealing with another person, and if you're a King of Wands, stop trying to force a Queen of Swords to be a Queen of Wands. Just be a King of Swords. Just meet them in that element. Is basically what I'm feeling like with that. And it is coinciding with the Unity card. Seven of Pentacles usually defines like a period of reevaluation or waiting or like looking at what you've got going on and what you can do with it, right? Like that's mostly what's coming through is like stop forcing. Stop forcing and find your flow. And you can only find your flow if you actually surrender to everything that you are resisting and what you're not acknowledging, right? Which is the Five of Cups. Wow. Whew. Whew. And when you do that, there's also going to be such an influx of mental energy and things will start to become clear. King of Swords. Things will start to become clear and you can start to cultivate and really see what you're working with and what you can do with yourself or with another person. Wow, group one. Okay, you made me work a lot today. Let's move on because group two, I can feel it. That bear is very prominent. Hold on a second. Group two. Bear. I just want to write bear in like big bold letters. The bear. Why is the bear here for group two? This definitely feels like being held. This feels like mom and papa bear energy. I am getting pink. The word passion. Oh, I should write timestamp, shouldn't I? Oops. I'll just do that as the timestamp, I guess. All right, so group two. Bear. The color pink, the word passion. Something feels very like calm about this energy for you, group two. Yeah, like being held. Feels like being held. Is there a crystal or stone that wants to come through? They're showing you like reds, oranges, which I didn't expect. Okay, so group two, it feels like you've been needing to like be held in emotional space, maybe dealing with some parental stuff, or maybe actually allowing people to hold you, or even like learning to hold yourself. And it feels very loving, very comforting, very yummy. But it also feels like it's time to move out of that. I think that's why they're showing me reds and oranges. Like it's time to like, yeah, kind of come out of the bear medicine, come out of a period of recovery and start to gain some of your vitality back, start to get excited again, start to feel passionate again, and just like get moving. There's almost a impatient energy behind that. If anyone's trying to rush your process, don't let anybody rush your process. For some of you, that's going on. And don't rush yourself either, but also be aware that like there's a time and place for everything, and it feels like you've worked through something for sure, and it's just time. It's just time. I'm getting like Carnelian, Garnet. Stay grounded. Stay grounded while you are gaining your vitality back, and while you're starting to like get excited about life again and get more passionate. Stay grounded. Stay grounded in your passion is how that's coming through. Interesting. Stay grounded in your passion. I am, to be honest, I'm hearing the word procreate. Have fun with that. For whoever that applies or wherever that applies. Procreate. Okay. I feel like I know what card's going to come out with the Fae. There's a card I'm seeing from the Fae deck called the Himself card, and that's literally the card of procreation. We'll see. It's starting to feel yummy. So group 2, I want to just get into your reading here, but it feels like you're going through a very interesting transition of being very like almost hermity and like holding yourself or allowing yourself to be held. Very, very strong bear medicine, and almost moving from like pinks to oranges and reds as far as like aura goes or like frequency goes. And as you're starting to get into like the oranges, the reds, that carnelian garnet assistance, you know, you're gaining more passion. Some of you are rediscovering your passion, but they're saying to stay grounded in it. And there is this like fun, creative energy that's coming through. And for some of you, it's sexual. Some of you are going to be going through this sexual wave, whether it is enjoyed with another person or you're using that sexual energy to actually just create. Because I'm hearing procreate. It's almost like, hang in there with me, I'm trying to use the right words. It's almost like you're being instilled, impregnated, if you will, but instilled with passion again, and you're able to do something with it. You're able to bring something to life, even if it's just yourself. Oh, okay. Group 2, let's do it. I'm liking this group. I'm liking this group a lot. Okay. Any messages or insights for group 2? Yeah, it's like I can feel like butterflies now. Oh, group 2, it's like I feel like I could write a whole story. Honestly, I feel like I could write a whole short story on your energy right now. Where you've been, where you are, and where you're going. I'm starting to feel like 6 of Cups butterflies kind of vibe. You're rediscovering passion and play. And some of you, there is a divine assist of like having that come up again within yourself. And some of you, it's happening by way of a relationship. Any messages or insights for group 2? Ones may be very significant. They're literally showing me like 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 just repeatedly. Ooh, yes. Hey, Zachary. Hello. Am I taking this? Yes. Ooh. Oh, I'm excited for you guys. Psilocybin, commune, Pluto and Sun energy. 49 breaking down to a 4. I love this card. This card speaks to the sacred child, which is basically psilocybin. Psilocybin is that sacred, childlike, playful energy, and it's speaking to that within you, and also not just to connect to it and honor it, but even allow yourself to connect with spirit in that same way, with childlike curiosity and play. But I just keep feeling this sense of passion that's like rising within you, and it just feels so good. But be the sacred child. It does feel a little bit like a birthing. It's like, because you're going from this like bare, protected, parental energy and quiet and calm, almost womb-like, to suddenly you're being filled with life and with breath, and you're going out and you're active and you're doing, and it's just, you know what I mean? So it does feel a little bit like a birthing has been happening. like you've been in a womb space and you're coming out of that as the sacred child. And again, Sun and Pluto energy emphasize that as well. Should I pull one more? They said not necessary. Okay. Okay. Fae. Let's go to the Fae. One more. Okay. Tell me more for group 2. Yeah, this is way more about communing with your own childlike energy and spirit, more so than other people. I think that's coming as just like a progression of this energy, but this is really emphasizing connecting to your own sacred child and spirit. I feel like group 2, you have a lot of divine assist around you, like a lot. You may be aware of that, you may not. Some of you are also learning to play in the forest. It's like kind of cute. Okay. Frolic, even the word frolic, some of you are like relearning that. It was a very interesting vibe. We have Arvel Parrot with 50 breaking down to a 5. There's some throat chakra energy here. It's a card of communication and a card of honesty. Let me sit with that for a second. Because I feel like you're like there's very little engaging with other people. Oh. Group 2, it's because you are finding your voice. In this birthing that you're going through and connecting to that sacred child energy and even spirit, there is this like rediscovery of your, almost want to say discovery of your voice, almost like you haven't found it until now. There's a discovery of your voice. There's a discovery of your truth that just couldn't, there was no space for it. Thank you. There was no space for it. This is also tying into that collective energy I was picking up on before, where it's like what has been eclipsed by all these things we've attached to, all these memories, the past and wounds and bullshit like that. What has been eclipsed out in group 2? It's your voice. Your voice has been eclipsed out, but no longer. This is also, I feel like you're being so contained, because even if you're contained by the bear holds, the bear insulates for recovery and safety and protection. But I also feel like spirit is holding you even as you're coming out of that bear energy. And I do feel like you're actually highly protected right now, but it's because you are kind of like a little baby a little bit, and you kind of need that so you can get reacquainted with your voice and learn how, like, what it feels like and what is your truth. Because the voice is not just how we express ourselves, but our voice is also our truth. It is actually where we very physically connect to spirit, to creator, to God, and are heard in that connection. It's where we are heard and witnessed in our own connection to God, is through our voice. Don't know why I wanted to come out that way. For some of you, you're going to realize how powerful your voice is, what a gift your voice really is. Some of you may discover you have a talent for singing. Some of you may discover you have a talent for writing, public speaking, or that your voice is just very powerful. And you really couldn't discover it until now, until you were contained in this space, till you've gone through this rebirth or birthing, and have also allowed yourself to connect to the sacred child within you. It's like all of these things need to happen for you to do that. Okay. Yeah, I keep getting this like contained by spirit. It feels a little bit like spirit is holding your hand through this as well. Like you're not alone in this process at all. And you got a lot of hand holding from spirit. Can I get another card for group 2, please? Oh, you got 2 more. Oh, group 2, I like a well of like, my heart just like swelled up with these cards coming out. We have Sylvanius, 34, breaking down to a 7. And then Soulless, 13, breaking down to a 4. This is the card of the sun. Oh, I got chills. So not only are you discovering your truth and your voice and your power in all of that and your gifts and all of that through the sacred child, through spirit, and being held in this way, but Sylvanius, however you pronounce this, I'll just say Sylvanius. Sylvanius is all about masking, it's a mask of truth, okay? So you can see in the card, it's like there's a giant sword there and there's a light and here he is holding the mask. It's what has been eclipsing the sword for you? What has souls? What has been eclipsing your voice? What's been eclipsing you? And it's illumination, illumination, sun, just the sheer energy of God's light, right? Literally being uneclipsed, unmasked through your voice. Ooh, group 2. Okay. Oh. So of all of the groups so far, we only had 2 groups, but this collective uneclipsing is, I mean, like off the charts for you. Off the charts. And it's all seemed to be centered around your throat chakra. How you communicate, what comes out of your throat, and even your own connection to truth of you. That is being uneclipsed here for you. And it's very sacred, child like energy behind it as well. A lot of father energy coming through here too. Scorpio used to be the eclipse and now they are the illumination. But I'm also getting father energy too. Solus also speaks to that sort of great father energy. Let me tune into that for a minute. It's interesting because remember I was also getting, it feels like you're almost being like impregnated or instilled with like vitality and passion and light. And again, your hand is being held by spirit through all of this, but that's also the great father, right? Like father masculine energy impregnates, instills, seeds. Like masculine energy actually does the seeding of life, right? We know this. There's a whole lot of other misconstrued thought forms around it, but masculine energy does that. Masculine energy seeds the light. Feminine energy cultivates it into something tangible, right? Oh, I felt like I needed to say that with force. And even with Solus being here, it does feel like that. Even just like the bloop, the seeding of light. It's yours. It's always been yours, but there hasn't been space for it to actually be incubated into anything. It's just been waiting in the wings in this eclipsed energy. And here it is uneclipsed. And now it can actually be cultivated, right? Hold on a second. Sorry, my chat thingy got all funky. Okay. Wow. Also, the Great Father is also a protective energy as well. So again, spirit's all over you. But let's go ahead and pull some tarot cards for you guys. I missed the crystal for group 2. So group 2, I just got a lot of information. So I got bear, pink, passion, being held, and there's a calm. And then for crystals, I got carnelian and garnet, and to stay grounded in your passion. Okay. Ooh. All right. Ah, cards flying everywhere. Spirit has been really handsy lately. Okay. Any other messages or insights for group 2? King of Cups. King of Cups is Scorpio energy. But King of Cups is also emotional mastery and maturity. King of Cups is somebody who is very in tune with their emotional body and can maintain and emotionally regulate themselves and hold space for other people emotionally and never waver. That is King of Cups. It's like this immovable force of love, to be honest with you, is King of Cups energy. I feel like this is something you've actually, thank you, they're confirming that what I was about to say, they were just confirming it. You've already mastered this within yourselves, group 2, is what I'm gathering. This has been there. This has been very present, and it's coming in handy right now because, again, this is about getting into more of that pure part of you, that sacred child part of you, and where you are witnessed and heard in your connection to spirit through your voice, right? Through the power of your voice and your words and your truth. You have already mastered this. I feel like group 2, you probably are very advanced empaths, is what I almost want to say in terms of that. King of Cups is also an energy that holds us emotionally, and what I was already picking up for you. You know how to speak with love. But this is about you learning how to speak from more than just love. It's beyond that. It's a sense of purity and divinity, right? It's beyond that. It's bigger than that. But King of Cups, I feel like, is your own energy. I'm also noticing too, like, because sometimes when you guys read, when we read cards, certain things will stand out for different reasons at different times because of the energy. And so something that's standing out to me in this is actually what he's holding. He's holding a cup, and then he's holding, like, I don't even know the name of that. Not you know, it's not a rattle. I know there's a word, a saber. I don't think that's the right word, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? And you can see it almost looks like a tiny cup there, but it's actually very phallic. There is also the energy here too of like this phallic instilling, impregnating, right, of light, right, with also being held in that and containing that scepter. Thank you. I was like, saber? Yeah, scepter. Thank you. A scepter. So very like holding masculine, feminine at the same time. Again, this is energy that can hold emotions, but I feel like this is you. Okay. Anything else for group 2? What is going to come out of you, group 2? Something is coming out of you. And I do feel like there's going to be a time where it is witnessed. But again, I do feel like Spirit is like really holding you and protecting you for your own benefit while you're getting acquainted with this. Ooh. Okay. 5 of Swords. Are you dealing with some gorillas, group 2? Whew. 5 of Swords is not always bad. No card is innately bad, is just all inherently bad. 5 of Swords is Aquarian energy. It's very much all or nothing. Sometimes we need to be in 5 of Swords energy to set boundaries. Sometimes we need to be like, no, here's the line, and no matter what, I'm not letting you cross it, right? That could be very 5 of Swords. Almost said 5 of Wands. Actually, maybe I did say 5 of Wands. Anyway, also a 5 of Swords. 5 of Swords can also represent ego battles, right? And like a little bit of petty tit for tat and feeling kind of triggered. And this is coinciding with Sylvanus, okay? I feel like if any of you have been operating from that 5 of Swords place, again, there's a reason. And I do feel like if you have been incubating with that bear energy, you've been working through it. But I feel more the external going on here of the 5 of Swords is very masky, right? It's when the ego really comes into play, sometimes for the right reasons and sometimes for bullshit, distorted reasons. But the 5 of Swords is the mask, right? So what is behind the mask? What is behind the triggers? What is behind the egoistic behavior? What is behind the feeling of all or nothing survival from yourself or from others? And again, I feel like if it's an internal experience, you've already been working through it. You're already on top of it. But I do feel way more of you are seeing what's behind people's behavior, which if you are a highly evolved empath, you would already know, right? That just comes with being an empath. So interesting. Coming back to the sacred child and that 5 of Swords energy. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me sit with this. What is with the sacred child and this 5 of Swords energy? This is also why you're being insulated, because there is so much of that sacred child energy coming through. That sacred child energy does need to be protected. It just does. So certain people who are at this vibration just cannot come close to you is also what I'm gathering. And even if they do, it's like something about it feels bizarre, or you just see it for what it is. And it's like you don't even really engage with it that much. I think you can still engage with it from a loving place, but it's like you don't get caught. You don't get caught up in it. You're not getting caught up in this because you just see it for what it is. And you can also see how other people are hurting behind their lashing out and their own egoistic behavior, and how unsafe people are feeling when they're acting like that, but you don't have to get caught up in it. I feel like you are also learning how to speak the right words to individuals like this that hits their soul, that can penetrate the mask. Ooh, more of that penetrative energy coming through that can penetrate their mask, whether they like it or not. All right, moving on. Last card. Can I get one more for group 2, please? Okay, this is interesting. Group 2, again, this is something that's been with you your whole life, but your awareness of it now, your ability to fully sit in it now and like actually cultivate this skill. Because I feel like you've had a lot of experiences where people are mad at you for no reason and you can't figure out why, or people are bothered by you and you can't figure out why. It's because of the power of your voice. It's because of the power of your voice does have the ability to penetrate people's masks, to penetrate their bullshit. Because you just see what's behind it. You see the pain behind it. You see the suffering behind it. You see who is behind it. But now that you are able to fully embrace it and sit in it and cultivate it, it's going to a whole new level. Oh my God. Okay. I don't know why I'm nervous. Can I get a card for Solace, please? For group 2. I do feel like this process has also coincided with a lot of inner child recovery for you. Because as a child, if you were like this, which you probably were, your child, sorry, got disconnected for a second. Your child version of you was probably attacked a lot. And so there probably has been needing to, deal with that. Okay. Oh boy. Yeah, I feel like group 2, you've been painted as a villain a lot in in other people's stories, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, I'm getting, sorry, so many things for you. I'm getting a lot of projections, a lot of victimization, a lot of just, yeah, making you out to be a villain when you're actually this like immovable force of love. An immovable force of love painted as a villain because of the ego and projections and your ability to hit their soul. Interesting. Can I get a card for Solace, please? As a result of this, some of you have been carrying around the pain of others or the pain that people left you with. It almost feels like in their projections, what they did is like, there's all my shit, bye, unknowingly. And you've been carrying that around, but I feel like you have been releasing that too. Can I get a card for Solace, please, for group 2? So much wanted to be said for you guys. Ooh, interesting. Not what I would have expected. With the Hermit always follows the star, which is also another form of illumination because the sun is also just another star, as is the soulless energy. I don't know why I don't like that word, soulless. I think because it's like literally sounds like soulless, and I'm just like, I don't know, I don't like saying it. Anyway, coming back, that Hermit energy, I feel like you've been there. I feel like that's where you've been. You've kind of been in this hermity space until you're starting to like crawl out of it. But in that hermit space, what has been happening is this like whole impregnation of light. But it's, again, it's like, it's been there. Excuse me. It's already been there. Just you working through your stuff and allowing yourself to be in this place of recovery has been allowing it to grow and to actually be cultivated, and you can actually see your own light better and your own skills and gifts better. So I feel like that's why Hermit is there. Very nice, group 2. Very, very nice. Very nice. All right. Am I doing a third group? Let me sit here for a minute. I'm like, let me feel into this. Is there a third group? Yeah, I'm hearing a no. Okay. Only 2 groups today. Only 2 groups today. They said third is just a no. I just heard no. All right. Well, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed the weekly. I hope you guys enjoy your week. I am going to be recording the signs today for my patrons, and then they will post throughout the week here on YouTube since I didn't do them over the weekend. But I wish you guys luck in everything that's going down this week, and I hope you really do just enjoy it and are happy to explore yourself and new horizons and just all that can be, not all that was. Okay. All right. I'm going to go. Again, love you. Have a great night and a great week, and I will see you guys later. Okay. Bye, guys.